親父は俺に何を見せたかったんでしょうか。これは肖像画。何？
Hello everyone, this is our first deck profile for our fledgling channel here. This is the list I played this past weekend at Omaha Smash. Want to give a shout out to fellow Council of Chris member and teammate Chris Nixon, who originally came up with the idea for this list. He's our local deck building guru here. This man literally just cranks out lists all day long, and then we theory craft it, and then we play it out on the tabletop and then refine them. You can check him out on UVS Ultra. I believe his username is Kelly is a Pooper. And I think he has just under 90 lists cranked out for you guys to check out. He's usually really spot on like the first try, and then just like after we grind out the games with little refinements here, they usually work out pretty well. So this past weekend at Omaha Smash, I played Yuga Aoyama, aka Lazer Belly. I'm not the smartest player when it comes to UFS. I'm what I'd call a smooth brain player. So this deck is relatively straightforward and aggressive, which fits my playstyle perfectly. So he is a six-hander with 27 health. 27 health is good because I suck at blocking, so I usually face tank a lot of stuff. But that's that's my problem, not yours. So your mileage may vary. So he has two abilities. The first one, if you flip one or more foundations during your attack's enhanced step, your attack gains +1 speed, +1 damage, play while committed. And then the second ability, you commit him, and then the next card you attempt to play this turn gets -1 difficulty for each of your face downs. So his whole gimmick or shtick is basically flipping his foundations to get like huge numbers on his attacks. And then your ideal lines of play is to hopefully burn down the opponent by turn 2 or 3 at the latest. The longer the game goes, the worse it gets for him, because usually your field is, you're just essentially playing with blank foundations at that point. There are some ways to unflip foundations in the deck, but usually the longer the game goes, the worse it gets for you. So you want to try to burn down your opponent as quickly as possible. So we'll go into the attack lineup. First, we have 4 copies of Naval Laser Beam, his ultra rare. This card is crazy cool and fun. First, enhance, you discard momentum, you can unflip 2 foundations. That typically didn't play out much for me. It does, have uses in the late game, but like I said, you never want to get there. And then the bottom 2 enhances, you flip foundation, and you can either give the attack +2 speed or +2 damage, and basically when you respond with your character, you basically can get this guy. If you flip 2 foundations, you basically get the guy up to a 7 mid for 10, which is massive. And if you're going turn 1 and you chuck 1 or 2 of these down, it puts a huge amount of pressure on your opponent and puts them on their back heel. And this is a really fun card, and this is also really cool at defending. It's a 2 mid block with breaker 2. Breaker 2, any form of breaker is really devastating in this format right now. So if you need to defend, this is a really good one to defend. The next attack that we run are 4 copies of Instant Shining Flash. This is flip 1 foundation. The next card you attempt to play gets -1 difficulty, so you flip it, respond with your character. It ends up being a 5 high for 5. And then response, when you play this card, your character pitches 1 momentum. That's really good against characters like Cha-Cha and other characters that like to hoard momentum. You can really put a damper on their plans with this. Also 1 low block, which is really good. Then we run 3 copies of Panache Shining Blast. Enhance, flip 1 foundation. This attack gets +1/+1, and then your rival discards momentum, so it's a 6 mid for 6. And then the Deadlock ability is this attack gets +5 damage. It's like a mini of your Naval Laser Beam. If you go into Deadlock, it's pretty good. Like I said, the game usually doesn't go into Deadlock for me. You either kill the opponent or he kills you. So 2 high block is also pretty good. And then we run 2 copies of Naval Laser Charge. Enhance pitch 1 momentum, gain 3 health. And then if you have flipped a foundation during this attack step, your next attack gains +1 speed, +1 damage. This is a good one to poke with. Sets up your next attack. It's only a 4 diff, so it's good for poking and decent mid block. So, and then the final set of attacks we run, which is like the linchpin, is Frog Lashing, Frog Girls, ultra rare. Enhanced, this attack gains +1 damage for each of your face down foundations. So ideally, after you flip your entire board, you play 2 or 3 of these, and then it just gets huge, and then by that time your opponent is usually taxed. They don't have enough foundations to commit to help them block, or they're out of cards in their hand, and this can seal the game. And the bottom enhances you ready to face down foundations, so you can keep chaining attacks, and then combined with your character's second ability down there, you can, once you have an entire blank field, you can commit him to make sure that you can play your Frog Lashings. So that's 17 attacks total, I believe, if my sketchy Asian math would be correct. Yep, so that's 17 attacks. And then we run 2 of the Tres Leches Cape. This is one of the few abilities in the list to unflip your foundations. So you commit it and unflip 1 committed foundation. And then the Deadlock form, which is actually really good if you're able to last that long, as you can add 2 range attack from your card pool to your hand. So you can, I believe all the attacks we've played so far are ranged, so you can, throw a couple of these down, and then, add them back to hand by removing this if your opponent is in deadlock, and then, play him again, which is really fun. Okay, and then we have our foundations. First we run 4 copies of Bonds of Friendship. Flip this attack, Fury attack, it's -3 damage. I believe there's 20 odd something Fury attacks in the set, so it's pretty good. This is also one of the rare 6 checks in the set right now, and it's a 1 block, so basically a no-brainer. Then we run 4 copies of Patching the Torch. Commit, draw 1 card, and then if you have no cards in hand, draw 2 cards. Very good for filtering, trying to fish out extra attacks. I found myself often, committing this, trying to draw more attacks and then using it as flip fodder for, his attacks. We have 2 copies of Self-Sacrifice. Enhanced, destroy 1 foundation. This attack gets +1, -1 damage. I didn't find myself using that ability a lot. We basically included it in more so for the 1 low block modifier. 2 copies of Preparing for Battle. This is another Breaker card, so decent. Again, Breaker is really good in this format right now. You commit it, pitch a card, and draw a card. Again, you can filter with this. I also forgot to mention Frog Lashing is also a Breaker 1 card. So this deck has 10 cards total with Breaker on it, so it can defend surprisingly well. You don't want to do that because you want to kill the opponent fast enough, but if you need to, you can defend pretty well. Then we run 4 copies of Infinite Potential. Response, flipped after your rival plays attack, change the zone to high. There is a large number of high blocks, in the deck. So this pairs well with the Bonds of Friendship. You can flip it, the attacks to high, and then you have the good block modifier. So it's a pretty solid card. Then we have 1 copy of Release, destroy 1 foundation. Your check to block this attack gains +2. Really good spam card, decent block modifier. Then we have 4 copies of Observant Student. Flip, look at the top card of your deck. This is really good for, boosting your Frog Lashings with your character card. Because typically the only boost it gets is, for your face downs. But if you save these from when you play your Frog Lashings, you can get a little bit of speed as well. And then you can, look at the top of your deck to make sure you're not going to check an attack when you're going for your kill turn. And then the Deadlock Enhance, commit, if a card is left your card pool this turn, add 1 range attack from discard pile to your hand. That would only occur if you use your Tres Leches Cape. Again, that didn't really occur to me, but it is an option that's there. Then we have 1 copy of Rescue completed, enhanced Destroy It, ready to face down foundations that now have been ready this combat phase. So that's really good for extending your plays. When you're going for your kill turn, you want as many ready face downs for your frog lashings. And then the bottom one, commit 1 foundation. This attack gets +1 or -2 speed. We have 2 copies of Wall Cling. This is a really good card. Flip it. If the attack is blocked, it deals no damage. This is really good for dealing with like Cha-Cha's throws, like the meteor shower and stuff like that. That's really very popular card right now. So this is like really solid. Probably might even consider bumping this up since it came up a lot during the tournament. We have 2 copies of Glamorous. After you build this card, you unflip 1 foundation. So this is one of the few ways to unflip your board. So that way you can reflip it, your next turn. So that way you can do more shenanigans with your attacks. And then you can also flip if your attack gets +3 speed, only playable if this attack speed is less than its printed value. So if someone negs your speed, you can gain +3 with this and then respond with their character to give it +4 speed. So really nice. Then we have 1 copy of Someone with Style. Response: after this foundation is destroyed, do a stun ability. Reduce your rival's attack to 0 speed. Play ball committed. This is really good defensive card. This is another one that we're considering, bumping up. And then enhance once per turn. Destroy foundation. Ready this foundation. So kind of like God of Thunder in the Mortal Kombat. I think that's the card, yeah. But yeah. And then finally we have 4 copies of Tight Lipped, good flip 1 foundation. Your attack gets +1 damage, and then you can respond with your character card to give it even more speed and damage. This is another good way to, if you can save these for your frog lashings, to boost the speed and damage of those. So super, super good card, and it's also spam. So as far as the tournament went, I believe I finished with a record of 4-2. I believe that was for 11th place overall after 6 rounds of Swiss. Funny aside, I believe we were 1 person away from the magical number of 64 players, which would have meant the top cuts would have been at top 16 rather than top 8. And one of our fellow teammates and local players, whose name rhymes with Smallick Smouch, got so drunk the night before that when he rolled up to the parking lot at the mall where LWG is, he said, "No, I'm out," and he went home to just sleep it off. So in theory, if he would have played, Vistep would have made top cuts into day 2, which would have been pretty cool. But I bear no ill will towards Smallick Smouch. He's a great dude. We love him, and hopefully he's recovered. So my 2 losses were versus Shoto, Ice and Fire and Ice Boy, who's played by another teammate of mine, Richard. He was able to just wall up, and defend just enough so that eventually, when I start running out of steam, those turns 3 and 4, he was just able to drop massive attacks on me, and there's nothing I could do about it. Again, the longer the game goes, the worse it gets for this deck. So you want to try to finish your opponents off quickly as possible. My other loss was to, a Bird Boy player who was running like a Bakugo package. With all the Fury attacks, I just ran out of blocks, and he was able to actually out-aggro me. That deck is really cool because it just snowballs once you get 2 or 3 birds in the card pool, and he can put out an equally impressive string of attacks like you can. So that was a really fun game. I ended up beating we beat Frog Girl, which we just again, that was like another race. I ended up beating Frog Girl. I beat Electric Guy, who sided into Cha-Cha. I beat another Laser Belly player, also another teammate of mine, Axel from Kansas City. So I guess that makes me the superior Laser Belly. And then my final win was, another Bird Boy player. Again, I was just able to out-aggro him. as opposed to the other Bird Boy player. So yeah, it was a really fun event. Always a great time at LWG. That's my locals. Miles and the crew always put on awesome events. It was really cool. Meeting All Might. That guy is a trip. Oh, as far as the sideboard went for the event, we basically ended up throwing in 4 copies of each of the life throws. So that's Cha-Cha's throw and then the Deku rival deck throw. The logic was for the Eraserhead and Rock Boy matchups, since it's really easy for them to block. Even with Eraserhead, that's a horrible, horrible matchup for this deck because once you get erased, you're essentially playing with a blank character, so you can't do any of your shenanigans. If you can just hit him with 8 throws and since he only has 19 life, you can probably beat him. It's because something's better than nothing. Again, it's a horrible, horrible matchup. Going forward, I probably would consider like mainboarding a couple of the throws, just because there were a couple of games where it could have ended earlier if I just had that little bit of extra damage to put my deck over the top, across the finish line rather, and that's what throws do best. Again, if you have any questions or comments, just let us know and stay bright and shiny.